Hey guys, welcome back. Free Tip Friday. Today's tip is on building cribbing ponies or shop stools or whatever you want to call them. I think I first saw this article in one of my timber framing books, either by Steve Chappell or one of Ted Benson, one of those guys, one of those books. And yeah, they mentioned how handy it is to have these little shop stools, which they called cribbing ponies, I think. And so I made a set on a job site one time. They were really useful, and I think they're still kicking around at my parents' place, and that was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. So they're super simple to make. I just made these out of 2x10, I believe. You could make them out of 2x12 if you want a deeper, wider kind of seat, but 2x10 is enough. I'm a pretty tall guy, so I made mine 17.5 inches tall, kind of like a typical seat height, chair height. Because I like to work on a surface that's a little bit higher, so you're not hunching over quite so much. But on the job site, what these are used for is cribbing up big timbers or big stacks of wood that you don't necessarily have wide sawhorses this wide, but you can, if you've got a couple scraps of 4x4 or 6x6 laying around, you can make a sawhorse that's 10 feet long, because these just move, wherever you want them to go. So you set a couple 4x4s down at that end, and then you can just stack lumber, super high, or lay out a whole bunch of timbers on them. Or you can just use them to support, odd shaped, frames or whatever you're building by just moving these around to support your work pieces wherever you need support. So they're super handy to have in the shop, and they stack away, stuff them in a corner up against a wall, and they're out of the way. They only take about 10 minutes to make. So I used 1/2-inch plywood. So mine I made 17.5 inches tall, about the standard chair height. I cut my top piece at 15.5 inches. My legs are 17 inches long thereabouts, with a 20-degree cut on both ends in the same direction. Once you have 2 of those put together, I cut my gusset strips at about 8 inches, and then you can just cut these angles on after the fact or beforehand. You draw a center line on your top piece on the bottom sides. You line these things up so that they're touching in the middle, sitting flat on the angle. And then you just screw in your gussets, so I'll lock them in place. So super simple design. You could screw the legs through the top if you want to add strength, but this, with the plywood gussets on there, that's all you really need. These will last for years and years and years. I know they're not really samurai quality, but in a pinch, they're super handy to have laying around. And this set will probably just be my outside set, so when I'm working outside, during the summer or the winter, I just need to stack wood outside around my shop. These will be the ones that I use, and eventually when I find some time, I'll make a nicer looking set for inside the shop here, just to tickle my eyeballs as I'm walking around, Don't want to look at this cheap framing garbage. Oh, I'm such a snob. But you love me. So that's your tip. Go and build some shop stools. Super cheap. This was all just made out of scrap wood, so it literally cost me nothing. Literally, you son of a bitch. Will I ever be free of you? These stools didn't cost me anything to make. So if you got some junk plywood laying around and some 2x10s or 2x12 cutoffs, throw them together and make some stools. Oh, I just went and checked, and the plans for these cribbing ponies, where I originally saw them, was in Steve Chappell's book on timber framing. So if you want to check out that book, I think it's called The Timber Framer's Workshop. It's on my Amazon store, so if you click up in the link there and the link in the description below, go to the books section in my Amazon store, you'll find A Timber Framer's Workshop by Steve Chappell. The cribbing pony plans are in that book. For all you beginners that are wondering where to start, that's where I started, was just seeing what
was out there through ordering books and reading. And you know, it takes you a day or two to go through one of these books and look at all the training and, you know, information in the book and the pictures and diagrams, and it's like you're just absorbing like decades and decades and centuries of knowledge that's been passed on, and you're just doing it in a couple of days. So as far as learning and understanding the craft, I recommend books to be like the #1 place to start. So go check those out in my Amazon store. Buy them all because, hey, it sends me a little commission. You don't have to pay any extra for them. So please do me a solid and do yourself a solid by getting some books. Okay? Okay. Ready? Break. That's your tip for this week. Make sure you subscribe. Peep the website. Until next time, Samurai out.